Boston Celtics have beaten the Cleveland Cavaliers. What even was the score? I don't even know. 120 to 117. I mean, never in doubt. So Spoonie will be here in a second because he was having some microphone issues before. Oh, I don't even know. All right, here we go. Celtics 120, Cavs 117. Jayson Tatum, 33 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. MVP type performance. Sorry, I'm frazzled with the technical issues and the game. But goodness gracious, man. Shout out the chat. Shout out everybody. Thank you for being here. First half, tale of two halves, it felt like. First half was like, okay, this is just the Knicks game reincarnated. Another apparent contender coming to town. And the Celtics were like, nah, we're showing you how it's done. And kind of felt like they let go of the rope a little bit in that second half there. The third quarter, and Neemias Queta was... Look, as a reformed Neemias Queta supporter, that was rough. I've been very supportive, very all about Queta getting development, playing well, but tonight was not the night for Neemias Queta. Jayson Tatum's plus minus only ends up at a +2 because he had to share the court with Queta in the third quarter. I don't know why Joe went back to Queta in the second half. I don't know why Joe continued to stick with Queta in the third quarter when it was both ends kind of a disaster. Alas, we have the beautiful, beautiful man. Oh, man, Al Horford, dude. So I'm just checking my microphone. Probably a little quiet. That probably sounds a little bit better now to everybody in the chat. Al Horford, 38 years young. This is why you do not have to worry about Al Horford in the regular season. Because you see tonight, the rim protection that we've all been worried about all season long, insane. The blocks on Garland, all night, he was making life tough on every single player on the Cavs at the rim. The good news is we might not have to deal with Queta and Luke for too much longer because we've had reports of Kristaps Porzingis coming back. Oh, wow, here we go. We've got Spoonie. We've got the dingy version of Spoonie. He's moved downstairs. Spoonie, how are we?
I'm doing good, man. What a win. Does my mic sound okay?
The mic is worse than usual, but it's fine.
All right, cool. All right, Joe Mazzulla is, I don't know.
What's he doing?
Torturing Neemias Queta by making him go against Donovan Mitchell and switches for the entire third quarter. That was absolutely brutal to watch. But I thought I just knew the threes were going to stop dropping at some point.
Had to.
And then, they had to, right? You can't shoot 70% from three for an entire game. And that's why I think, this is the championship version of this Celtics is 2-3 years ago. If that happens, they absolutely 100% lose this game. And they just nutted up, started going to the rim, and then made a couple timely threes when they had to. And I thought, Mitchell is just impossible to guard, dude.
Yeah.
He is so good, but defensively, I thought for the most part we were really awesome most of the night, other than Queta, who was probably his worst game since he started to get minutes. But it wasn't his fault, man. I don't even blame him. That's on Joe for leaving him.
Yeah, he can't play against Garland and Mitchell, dude. No. Two guys that are explosive, crafty, and with high IQ. It's just not a way. Yeah, dude, Spoonie literally looks like he's coming to us live from Antarctica.
It's cold out here.
Yeah, Ben Vallis is going to have a fucking conniption when he sees this. But that is fine. Instant reactions. We move. Yeah, man. I don't know what Joe's thinking, dude. I know he's been stubborn at times, but we've been so supportive of every decision that he's really made, and you give him the benefit of the doubt now. But to go back to Queta in the second half and then to stick with him in the third quarter after it was going so badly was just blowing my mind. Tillman's on the bench. Do you go small with Tatum? Do you just try Luke? He's gonna be in the right spots. Queta was being turned around. He had no idea where he was supposed to be.
Yeah, dude, it was brutal. And we talked about it last night with Tony. Both of us agreed, this is a Tillman game. This is 100% a Tillman game. And like poor Tatum, man, I honestly just feel bad for him because you have to switch against this team. You cannot drop against.
They're so
Mitchell
good
and
on the
Garland.
pick and roll.
Yeah, yeah, they'll just pull up behind the pick, and it's a layup for Donovan Mitchell. Garland was off. I thought we did a really good job against Garland. No, guys, my mic just broke. All right, so I'm live from the laptop. We got the wide angle. You can see all my pictures, but yeah, it's not ideal. All right, I was scrambling, but there's just no point. And we did a really good job on Garland, I thought, though, for the most part, like just being physical with him, making all his shots difficult. And then once he finally generated some open looks, he had absolutely no rhythm. So Garland's a big time rhythm player. He's kind of like Jalen in that way. But yeah, there's a Tony Brothers game, man. Like the second I saw Tony out there, I knew what was going on. Wirt in the chat is complaining about the refs. Like I just knew what was going to happen when it's Tony.
It was so bad. Like, and I thought it was bad both ways.
My cat just turned my light off. It's a disaster down here.
This is awesome, dude. This is kind of how the second half felt a little bit. It was bad for both teams, I thought. But I thought it was worse for the Celtics. Like, it just wasn't being called both ways. Tatum goes for that rebound and clearly gets fouled, and Mobley just gets the ball and puts it straight back in. Tatum goes for another rebound, and George Niang just grabs his arm. And,
yeah, that was insane.
And they just call it off Tatum, and they score again off that one. Like, those are just brutal, brutal plays. I thought it was a bad challenge by Joe because it was just not clear. And like and like when you slow something like that down, Al always has his hand on the opposing player. That doesn't usually get called. And so when you slow that down, that's always going to be called. So you didn't have your challenge for that Tatum out of bounds play, and that was a problem. Let's go positive for a second here.
Oh, yeah.
Jayson Tatum. Firstly, Celtics fucking win, reassert their dominance as the best team in the conference and the best team in the league. In the first half, Jayson Tatum, I mean, overall 33 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, straight up, like, running the offense, pulling up from three, getting downhill, defending every position. He made Garland's life hell in the first half.
Yeah.
I thought he was like a big reason why Garland struggled because he kept getting that switch, getting that matchup for some reason. And got like Tatum in those types of matchups, he's too big. Like, you got to be very explosive to beat Tatum in those ways. And Tatum's just like very patient, even when he's defending in that way.
Yeah.
Garland had nothing. And yeah, I mean, like, on 6 from 10 shooting, was he 5 for 5 at one point? So I think he only made one more. But he was a monster across the board. Defensive rebounding's been a massive problem for this team. I forgot to get my bet in for Tatum rebounds. I knew this was going to be a Tatum rebounding game, and obviously he controlled the boards all night long, especially in the first half.
Yeah, well, and then I thought his like clutch rebounding was huge.
Yes.
He grabbed a couple massive clutch rebounds in the last 5 minutes of this game that like Jared Allen was there and he just like skied over him. You know he's feeling it when he grabs it with one hand on the rebound and smashes the ball with the other hand, and it's like, okay, Tatum's cooking. He was amazing, dude, on both sides of the ball. You're exactly right. Defensively, like his switching was incredible. Like Garland could not get around him. In his help defense, because he was on Allen this whole game, so he was responsible for a lot of the help. He just broke up so many drives to the rim. He cut off passing angles. He was just there everywhere, like the entire game, really on both ends. And like he was clearly the best player on the court. And like on the Celtics side, nobody was close. And then on the Cavs side, like Mitchell was very, very good, but he just can't impact the game defensively on the glass like Tatum can. And like as good as he was offensively, I think he was better than that defensively, and that's saying a lot for a dude who had a hyper efficient 33 and 7 assists. So massive, massive Tatum game, and we needed every percent of it.
I'm very grateful as someone that just wrote about Tatum's scoring efficiency for Celtics blog. Go check it out. For him to do it on a night like tonight when we needed, as you said, we needed all of it. But obviously, like I was listening to podcasts this morning, like everyone's watching this game. We had Jayson Timpf. I know was like on the main stage, I think, for playback. Like as we know. Has Tatum in that second tier. Tatum has been playing like a tier 1 superstar. He has been the second best player in the NBA this season.
Yep.
It's like pretty at least he's got a very good argument for that spot. And for him to do that tonight in this spot against a team that is 15-0 is exactly what we needed.
Yeah, dude. And like I had my buddies texting me who do not watch the NBA, like, yeah, I'm going to throw on the Celtics-Cavs game because like they just know it's a huge game.
Yeah.
And Cleveland's our closest NBA team. So to the extent people care about a team, it's the Cavs. Yeah, Brandon Lehman in the chat, professional W. Kata got cooked, but he's still in the top 3 big rotation. I agree with all of that. For them, maybe.
We've got to give Luke another chance, man. We've got to give Luke another chance because I think that he's had a tough start, but I think we got to give him another chance.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think it's just going to go back and forth with those two all year. And I think part of me thinks like the next chance Luke gets, Kata may not get another chance, especially if Kristaps comes back, because that's just going to eat up so many of those center minutes that those two are kind of passing back and forth. Professional win, though, absolutely. This was like just mental fortitude. Like, this is what a champion looks like, man. The Cavs make this insane third quarter run. The game is totally getting away from you. And then it's like everybody calmed down. And like Jaylen, not his best game.
Yeah.
But man, he made some clutch buckets, some clutch twos when we absolutely needed him. And I thought when he actually was on Mitchell, he did a really good job. It's just their entire offense was getting Jaylen Brown off of Mitchell, which they did a really good job at because Atkinson's a really good coach. And it's not JB Bickerstaff anymore where it's like just high pick and roll with no other options and no other movement. So the Cavs are a really, really good team. I came away, like, I think you and I were extremely complimentary of them yesterday. Nothing's changed my mind.
No.
They're the second best team in the East pretty clearly, I think.
But very clearly second.
Second, yes.
would be my takeaway. Especially, I mean, like you throw Porzingis into this, and that's what like I was reminded of tonight. It's like one, Al Horford doing his like playoff Al thing and being we don't need to be worried about the rim protection when Al Horford's doing this. But yeah, Jaylen, and then like when you don't have to play Cater and those minutes are Chris has fucking Porzingis. That's completely different. So Jaylen, the Cavs cut it to 5 with 3 minutes to go. Tatum put it to 7, and then Jaylen had that steal, which was really impressive. Was like on the Donovan Mitchell pick and roll. Jaylen had a steal, and he had the 2 buckets. And to Jaylen's credit, Tatum had that turnover where he went downhill and ended up being a review. And Jaylen was actually very, very late in the game, like better than Tatum. Like they both missed. They both went 1 for 1 from the free throw line. Obviously, Tatum had like the vastly superior overall game, but like right in like the last 2 minutes, Jaylen got those 2 very important buckets and that steal. So got to give it to Jaylen. What did you think about the when Tatum reached in and like truck sticks Donovan Mitchell? I'm not sure why he did that. Was the strategy to like foul them so they couldn't take a 3, or did he just like lose his mind for a moment?
I think it must have been. Part of me thinks like maybe he just thought he could get the ball and he went for it 100%. But I don't know. Joe does like to foul. I know he's big on like the if you're up 3, foul to make sure they only get 2. And like the same kind of goes if you're up 5, right? Like keep it a 3-point game and then you're going to get free throws and it's right back. So it's if you you're going to keep it a 2-possession game if you limit the threes, even when you're up 5. So I wonder if that's it. That's an insanely hard intentional foul, though.
Yeah.
And there's just absolutely no reason to risk it. And thank you, RJ, in the chat. He's held the lead, no ties after 8:39 in the first quarter. Got down to 2 about 7 different times. But hey, they didn't let them tie. So I'm not sure what Tatum was thinking other than I think maybe Pete in the chat giving me money towards my light bill. Thank you, Pete. We really appreciate it. I think he just really thought he could get the ball, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna end in this game right now." But he wasn't even
took
close.
Him out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah, so that was, and I thought that like I didn't think it was a flagrant, but I was like, he definitely opened the door for it to potentially be a flagrant.
Yep.
They just kind of lost their way a little bit in the second half. Obviously, part of that was the Cater stuff, but like in the first half, and this is why I think I'm not sure this is a solvable problem for the Cavs in the playoffs. It's like Garland, Mitchell, Allen even like closed without Allen. And so it's like, that means you have to close with, I know it's Dean Wade. If Dean Wade can save them, then maybe that's the answer. He seems to get injured a lot. I know Okoro wasn't here as well tonight. And LeVert. They missed Dean Wade, Okoro, and LeVert. So like, that's obviously part of the story. No Kristaps Porzingis, I'd argue slightly more impactful than those guys. But Dean Wade's like very important for them because like he's like their only like large wing. But like Tatum's beating Dean Wade off the dribble a lot in a playoff series, and Okoro wasn't really able to handle those guys in a playoff series. And so that was the key, really, was in the first half, they just got every look that they wanted. And I think in a playoff series, when they're really locked in, night out, I think over a series, I just don't see how that the Cavs really solve that problem.
No, I think like the sneaky issue with the Cavs for the playoffs, and you nailed it, is Jared Allen. Like it just doesn't make a ton of sense next to Mobley, dude. Mobley is a 5. He's got to be a 5. It just unlocks so many options.
He was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, he was really awesome. Yeah, like some of these finishes he has from like 8 feet, 9 feet, where he goes like the baby hook from 8 feet, like that is unguardable. That's unstoppable. His problem right now is he's just not like strong enough to get to it all the time. But when he gets there, man, it's deadly. And he just looks so comfortable on the ball. And he always kind of did. And obviously he looks even more comfortable this year. But Atkinson's done like wonders with their offense. I was really impressed. Like Sam Merrill's all of a sudden like a useful weapon and stuff. So yeah, it's like I guess the problem with the Cavs roster building is when Dean Wade is that important, you've got some issues. You know what I mean?
Well, you got some issues against one team in particular, and this is a problem for the rest of the NBA. It's like, oh, we can kind of do it as long as we don't play the Celtics, and that's kind of the whole point of this team. It's kind of the whole point of Jayson Tatum and and Jaylen Brown, and the level of versatility that this roster has. They can just create problems that other teams cannot. Spoonie, we should leave it there. We're 17 minutes in. Tonight we will be late night with Daniel Greeny from Barstool Sports on late night. Thank you, Spoonie, for joining us from the Antarctic Space Station. It's very much appreciated that you were able to sort this out for us.
Yeah, I did my best. You know, the Wi-Fi is not good down here on the South Pole, but we got the penguins and the treadmills. They're doing a pretty good job. And I'm sorry, everyone. Like, literally, I recorded something with my mic earlier today, and it worked. So I don't know what the hell happened, but I'll just get a new one. But hell yeah, 15-1. Cavs.
15-1.
How's that taste? Yep.
12-3 for the Celtics with the Wizards coming up.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure they'll take that one seriously.
Yeah, of course. You know it.
All right. Love you all in the chat. See you all soon. And we're out.